Okay.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everybody. And we are a strong team of Online Global Dialog, and we meet each week online, and we have different topic for discussion. And today we are going to talk about values, benefits, and what kind of values develop our community or our organizations. And thank you everybody who joined us today. I'm Svitlana Salamatova. I am from Ukraine. I am in Kyiv right now. Kyiv is capital of Ukraine. And do you know that Ukraine play now a very important role in global map? And we're proud of this process. It's difficult a little bit, but we are part of this process, and we smile. We are smiling. And let's start from self-introduction. Say a couple words about yourself. Who are you? Like, what's your name? Who are you? What is your occupation? And what's new in your country today? Let's start from Ron.
Okay. My name is Ron Goldie. I'm at present I'm a community councillor here in my hometown. I'm also on the citizens panel here in my hometown. I'm also chairman of the Tenants and Residents Association here in my town, and I do other things as well as paint pictures, etc. And I run a little radio station also, as you can see with the CDs behind me here, and here is my radio station.
Good.
Okay. That's it. That's me.
And what's new in your country?
What's new? Not a lot. not a lot is happening at the moment. It's all very quiet here. Obviously, immigration is a big talking point here in the UK. This is why the UK government decided to leave Europe because of this immigration problem. And this is still, it rumbles on. Every day you hear something about immigration. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So,
and thank you, Ron. And what, Edu?
Thank you, Svitlana. My name is Adil Abdulati. I am from Sudan, and I'm settling here in Poland for many years. I am the chairman of the board of Harambee Foundation. Harambee Foundation is a foundation which is working on development cooperation between Africa and Poland, and generally Africa and Europe. And I have a lot of other things doing, but I'm not so active like Ron. So this is enough, yeah.
And Angel, what's new in your organization?
Now we are launching some projects. Now in Sudan, we have a project of education for some disadvantaged groups. It is in Jazeera region. We want to fill the lacks in formal education for children and young people, and this is one of the new projects which we are doing. And also we are doing a project of training for young organization, for youth organization, which is the organization of the Liberal Party. So these are the two new projects which we are focusing on.
Good, thank you. And we see Larissa.
My name is Larissa Verbitska. I'm from Kyiv, and Svitlana said that we have a very hot weather today. Tomorrow it is Independence Day of Ukraine, and we have a holiday in Ukraine, in Kyiv, and we have military parade. And something interesting maybe tomorrow.
Larissa, what's new in Ukraine? What's
in
news?
in Новокраина or in Ukraine? In Новокраина или in Ukraine or in Ukraine? Sveta, I don't listen to you. I don't care.
In Ukraine.
In Ukraine. in Ukraine we have oh.
And today, okay, I help you. Today we have Day of National Flag.
Of national flag, yeah. And before, we know that our flag is yellow and blue, and before Maidan, it was only idea of our flag. In Maidan, in 2014, this flag, we use our flag as a national symbol, something military. Svitlana.
I don't know how to say it. Shot. Стрелять, shot. Shotting.
Something military shotting in our flag, in us, and in young men in our flag. And when something die in Maidan, we use our flag as a cover. And I think that from Maidan, our flag is a really national symbol. And now you can see a lot of car or buildings or people have a little national flag.
Thank you, Larissa. And I want to add a little bit from Ukraine that tomorrow we are going to celebrate Independence Day. It's 25 years of independence, and tomorrow we will have military parade on Central Street. And yesterday, together with Larissa, we saw saw this parade shortly. Yeah. It was very sensitive for us. It is very, maybe I'm not think that it is dangerous, but it's very sensitive to see military machines in the heart of Ukraine. It's not easy for understanding. But it's happened, and we are living in this environment right now. And it seems like we start to talk about values. Slow by slow, we are talking about values. And I have open question for everybody, and also for MediaIC. And thank you, MediaIC, for giving opportunity to us to have this dialogue. And thank you, MediaIC, for technical support. And we cannot see you, but we know that technical team is behind of small windows. And thank you, Sergei Sukhabochenko, for support. And open question: what kind of values are driven of your organization, of your country, or your people?
So who is to answer?
Who are ready?
Okay, I can begin. I think that in our organization and in our country, what we need, it is participation values, because for a long time people were out of participation. In Sudan and generally in Africa, we have a lot of military governments. We have a lot of one-party government. So this excludes many people from participation in political, in social, in cultural life. So one of the values, very important value for us, is participation. We want people to participate in our organization. We want them to participate in different projects. We want them to participate in changing their life. Because till now there was very small participation, and there was a lot of elite, we can say, deciding instead of people deciding by their own. Also, another value which is very important for us is transparency. Transparency is very important for non-governmental organization, but also for government, also for political parties, also for different kind of organizations which are working in public. So people can know what this organization is doing, how it is financing itself, how it is running its affairs. Transparency is very important, because without transparency we can find tyranny, we can find corruption, we can find a lot of problems which affect our life. Also, another which is very connected, maybe it is something simple, and it is something which is natural, but we lack it in Africa, which is democracy. We are talking about democracy in running the organization, democracy in running the society, because without democracy, without debate, without changing of ideas, without changing of authorities, we can't improve. There will be only one idea, there will be only one leader, there will be only one system. So democracy, when we are talking about democracy, we are talking about deep democracy. We are not talking only about formal democracy. We are not talking about democracy, which is, we are talking about very deep democracy, which goes very deep in the society. We are talking about grassroots democracy. We are talking about participation democracy. This is, we are talking also about economic and social democracy, because when some people are excluded in Sudan, there is a lot of people, people with some kind of like the victims of war, like there is a lot of homeless people which are out of all these type of institutions. We are talking about disabled people, which because of their disability, they are not participating just like they should be in the process of social change or social communication or social interaction. So this is very a value which is very important for us. Also, we are looking for values like honesty between people, like goodwill, because also we are lacking them, because in we see in our country there is a lot of, or in Africa there is a lot of competition between political parties, between governments, between even non-governmental organizations. Instead of cooperation, they are trying to be competitive to each other, and instead of goodwill, sometimes we have a lot of good or bad tricks, you know. So we think that the goodwill between people, it should be a good value, and that when we deal with other people, we should deal with them in a goodwill. Also, the value of cooperation, because we have wisdom or a say that with one hand you can't do anything. So we need many hands to work, and that is one of the reasons that we choose many hands connecting as a logo of our organization, which means the name of organization is Harambe, which means in Swahili we work together. So cooperation is very needed value. Really, with cooperation we can do a lot of things. So this is just the values which I think are very important, at least for our organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Adil. And who wants to share your opinion? Ron, Larissa?
Yeah, okay. I can only say that I think these things are all very well in theory, but in practice they just don't work, as been proved many, many times before. There is always someone who wants to be the boss. There is always some dictator somewhere who wants to tell everyone else what to do. And democracy, we are lucky here in the Western Europe, we have a democracy here, but there are many countries still in the world who do not have the democratic rights that we have here. And to try to change this is going to take a very, very long time, if it ever works. I don't think this is, as I said, in theory, this is good. In practice, unfortunately, I don't think it'll ever work.
Ron, thank you. And Larissa, do you want to share your values?
I like values ideal. And as you know, one of my projects is about corruption. It named Anti-Corruption Methodic Center, and we understand that transparency for Ukraine is a very, very strong value. We need no tolerance for corruption. It's the main idea for 5 or 10 years in Ukraine. As for my personal values, about organization values.
Organization.
Our NGO Nova Kraina in the spring discuss do you know something about Maidan?
And question to everybody.
No, and you know it will be, it was a very strong
civic movement.
Civic movement, yeah. It might be civic movement, that might be перелом. And we have a new values. Ukraine is post-Soviet Union Ukraine, like as Russia. And now Ukraine is have a different values. We understand that we can help each other, and this help and the small people can do the history. And you know, it was something. It was a tragic moment. A lot of people, near 20, was died in Maidan. And now in Ukraine, very in some Ukraine's region, it was a very bad time. It likes war, and the life of people is some of the main value in Ukraine. We can help our volunteers, help army, help временно перемещенные лица. Это как будет? People who lose his house, and people migrants from a region where it is war now. And the next value is just a minute.
It seems like
trust. We can trust. We begin trust each other, because in Ukraine, before Maidan, in Ukraine it was one leader on. If 3 Ukraine begin to discuss something, we have a 3 leader. And now we understand that the leader, each of us is a leader, but we trust another leader. And the next value is developing our country, developing yourself, developing our organization. And as for me, it very. It need, as for me, we need a big challenge for our country, and big challenge and the main idea, bright idea, is maybe a new value of our country, and we need discuss and try to write something about national idea. It seems strange, but Ukrainian history is many times rewrite. We rewrite our history with in Soviet Union. We rewrite our history with ZA. We rewrite our history with the Polish. We rewrite our history with with Litva, and so. Ukrainian people have a genetic
memory.
Genetic memory, but this memory and our history sometimes said
it's difficult to have agreement. It's difficult to have agreement.
Yes, sometimes we have difficult to take agreement. And as after Maidan, we understand that different values is not a problem for Ukraine. In Kyiv live near, I think near 100 nationals. I see four священники.
Priests.
I see four priests of a different confession in Maidan, and each of them can help another, each of people. And it was a great moment for Ukraine. And now we can see that our values was born, our Ukrainian values is born.
Okay. Thank you, Larissa. And I have a question to Ron and to everybody. And how your personal values connected with your community values?
Yeah, everybody must have obviously personal values. I mean, yeah, you have to think as a person. You have to think you're as good as, if not better, than anyone else. You're just the same. You're just a human being. How it connects with the work that I do, the voluntary work is, well, all the work that I do is voluntary. How it connects with that is you have to pass your ideals onto your values and everything else onto other people. Yeah, you have to try and instill in them the value of this particular this organization is for their benefit, not for mine, sort of thing. And this is where the values come in, and in that respect. I mean, everything I do is not for my benefit. It's for everyone else. It's, you know, the other people who are outside. Now, what I don't, just to pick up on a point there, what I find is we organize meetings, and the problem with the meetings are it's the same old people who turn up every time who have their different ideals, obviously. But we never see anyone outside it unless it's something happening on their own doorstep, if you understand what I mean. It means if you don't hear from anyone until something goes wrong in their court. And then when something goes wrong, then they come to us and they expect help. You understand? So where are the values there? The values are only, you know, as I say, just personal values, really. People take very much for granted a lot of these organizations nowadays. They just think, oh, they're there, they're serving a purpose, and that's about as much as people think about it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Somebody have questions to Ron or Edil? Do you want to add something?
Yes, I would like to add. I would like to return back to what Ron said, that democracy is needed, but it is very difficult to provide in Africa or in third world. That's true. That's true, because
It's everywhere, everywhere.
everywhere, even in Europe here, it is. We can
Look what's happening in Ukraine at the moment. The same thing is happening in Ukraine at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so you're talking.
even in all democracies, we can find that a lot of people who are excluded, or they exclude themselves. If we are looking at the voting percentage, sometimes we find that 40% or 50% are going to vote and other people are not participating. We can see a lot of problems of democracy. But in Africa, if I can speak about Africa, because I know the African conditions very well, we have a problem of education. We have a lot of people who are not educated or who are very low educated. So with lack of education, you can't build democracy. So you have to educate people. And this is one of the reasons why the government, they don't want people to be educated, because if they were educated, they will ask for their rights. Another problem is that sometimes when people, they lack the basic needs, like they lack shelter, they lack food, they lack security, they are not looking for democracy. They are looking for basic needs, because they just want to live. They just want to keep alive. So we are talking all the time that all civil wars, all kind of wars in Africa must stop, because we can't speak about democracy, we can't speak about participation when people are fighting, when people are killing each other, when people are escaping. Because we can see that Ron talked about the refugee problem. Also, Larissa talked about refugee problem in Ukraine. People, when there is war, they are escaping. They don't care about democracy. They don't care. They care about their life and the life of their children. So, when there is lack of security, of course, we have to guarantee security. We have to guarantee basic needs. After that, we can talk about democracy. But this process is complicated, because also without democracy you can't provide these needs, because dictators, they don't care about the needs of the people. They care about their own needs, the need of supremacy, the need of corruption, the need of so they don't care about. So this, without democracy, really we can't fight for our needs. Without our needs being fulfilled, we can't find good democracy, because democracy is not for a country which is under war or under some kind of dictatorship or extreme situation. So this is one point, which is very complicated. Also, some people say that democracy is not for Africa. Because African people, they don't have a democratic history. No, this is not true. Or it is not for Russia, or it's not for China. This is not true. Democracy is for everyone. It is some kind of universal value. And I would like to say that we have a lot of universal values. The world is becoming one, and there is a lot of universal values. We will find people everywhere who will say that no, we are Muslims, or we are Orthodox, or we are Chinese, and we don't need this democracy. Democracy is something which came from the West. No, this is not true, because in Africa, there was all the time there was some kind of democratic, we can say, even if it is, they were primitive democratic procedures. But like in the village, the chief of the village cannot decide by himself. He has something which they call the council of the elders. When there is something important, so he invited all these elder people to come, and he consult with them. He can't do the decision by himself. So this was some kind of a simple way of democratic procedures, we can say, in African village or in African traditional societies. And we want to improve it to become more formal. This is one of the problems, of the challenge, that some of dictators, some of we know that we have a lot of dictators now. We have dictators from the left, which were the communists, and we have dictators from the right, which they are like the extremists, religious extremists, which there are a lot of them in Africa. Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab organization in Somalia, ISIS in Libya, many organizations, the government of Sudan, which is a dictatorship as well. So they are talking that democracy, transparency, they are not our values. Our values is faith, going to God, but these also are universal values. You can't put faith or religion against democracy. You can't put your national values against universal values. All these values, they are human values. So with what you talked, Svitlana, you asked if there is a contradiction between our personal values and the community values. Sometimes we have like if you are living in a traditional society, if you are living in a society where is a post dictatorship or post communist, or you will find a lot of people who are against these new values, who are against the democracy, who are against transparency, who are against collective leadership. They say, no, we want one leader. We don't want we don't want this democracy because there's a lot of mess. Everybody is talking. We don't know who is the decision maker. We want somebody like Putin. In Africa, we have a lot of people who say, we want somebody like Putin. But they don't know that Russian people are living in a bad situation because of this autocracy. So I believe that we are going, all of us, toward universal values. These universal values, we can find the roots of these universal values in every culture. There is no democratic cultures and undemocratic cultures, but we can find in every culture some democratic tendencies or some democratic, parts, and some undemocratic, some, human, and some against human values. So this is a process. It's a process of development, even in Europe, even in Scotland, even in Ukraine. Situation now in 21st century, it is not like in the beginning of the 20th century. It is not like in the 19th century. People have developed, and the values of their life has developed, and the values of the people also are developing. So we are going slowly to get some kind of universal values which are kind for all people, which can let people live in peace and harmony.
Thank you, Adil. But I want to talk more deeply about contradiction, about gaps, and even dictators, even leaders. I think that all leaders of countries, or all countries, declare very nice values. And we can hear from everybody about we are working for own children, like for next generation, like something like that. But at the same time, what we find is a result. Each family, like if we have values like family, yeah, if we value family, and for example, my value is family, and my neighbor has value as family values, and I'm caring of own children, and my neighbor caring own children also. And I think that we can find, as a result, we will have behavior. This value create behavior, my own behavior and my neighbor behavior, and as a result, what we have in community. In community, we have independent, like very independent. We try to create open environment, like a lot of fancy. We can see a lot of fancy between people, fences between people, but it's values, family value for a lot of people. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I can understand that you have to have family values. Of course, it's your children. It's all education, really. The way you bring up your children is the way they're going to act in the future. Let's face it, they are the next generation. And I mean, I feel that talking about democracy and things like that, fear has an awful lot to do with it. If you're going to instill fear in people, then obviously they're going to be very reluctant to speak up against any particular government or whatever organization or whatever it is. And this is why at the moment there are so many, as say we're talking about dictatorship, etc. This is why it's because the people will not stand up, and they're afraid to stand up against these people, because obviously war and everything else, that's what happens. But getting down to the grassroots of it, it's all to do with education. It's how you're brought up. I mean, you as parents, you bring up your children to respect right from wrong. And these children may go on eventually to be politicians, etc., etc. But they would have to know the values of right and wrong and understand what they are doing. And I think education goes a long way. Now, here he pointed out here that a lot of people in the African continent are not so well educated as we are. So obviously they don't know any better. This is a problem, you see. Although their parents do the best they can, their parents are also not educated. So these children are learning absolutely nothing. And what they hear is what's coming from the West, what is filtering in from various places, whether it be propaganda or whatever, I don't know. But I think fear is very, very much a big part of this. I suppose I reckon that some people agree with that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, fear is true. A lot of fear surrounded of us. Yes, it's true. I totally agree with you. And question is about education. And for example, what we can find in Ukraine, a lot of people who has money, and money is part of values also, and get money and spend for own children, send them to have good education in Europe, in America and Europe, and as a result, what we have in Ukraine.
Well, you see, what's happening in Ukraine at the moment is not the fault of the Ukrainians. It's the fault of the government. Now, I feel sorry for these people, of course, in East and Lugansk and places like that, who are stuck in this situation now, where nobody knows who is the enemy and who is the friend, because everyone looks the same. I blame your government. I don't know which side do they want to be on. There are the pros and the cons and everything else. But in saying that, there are not millions of Ukrainians coming and standing in Calais in France, waiting to come to the UK or waiting to go into Italy or Germany or places like that. Now, this is what I don't understand. I really, this is beyond me. The people from the African continent, you know, North Africa, the Libya and the Syria and places like that, they all want to come over to Europe. But the people in the Ukraine who are actually, they do have a fight in the Ukraine, they don't all want to come to Europe. What's the difference there? Can somebody explain that to me?
Not me.
I can explain it. I can explain. I can explain.
You can do it. Okay.
Yes, I think the war in Ukraine is limited. It is limited geographically. It is now in eastern Ukraine.
Yeah, for the time being.
Yes, that is true. It is in Crimea, and it was, now it is occupied, and now it is in Donbass. So it is a small part of the country, but of course it affects the country. That is number one. Number two, war in Ukraine, I think it is not so very extensive. It means wars in Africa, they are very destructive because of lack of education, what you are talking about, yeah. So even if we have some armies fighting the Ukrainian regular army, and the rebels supported with Russian soldiers, but these are trained armies, they are educated armies, so the destruction is not very high. They are not trying to destruct everything, but like in Africa, in Libya, as example, where the war is everywhere and the destruction is very high, and the war is very intensive, we can say. And we can find even some tactics which are very dangerous, like the tactics which are done by what they call it, the Islamic State. It is not a state and it is not Islamic. It is a terrorist organization. But They have a book which is written by one of their leaders, and the name of this book is The Management of Wildness. I'm not sure if I translated it from Arabic very well, but he's talking that in people there is something wild, and their organizations, they should use this wildness in managing, you know, going to the power. So they are building this fear. They are doing strategies and tactics of total destruction of some ethnic groups or of some religious groups. So the people are very afraid. In Ukraine, is some kind of we can say it is a political problem. A political problem. Russia is trying to keep Ukraine under its influence and trying to stop Ukraine from being really independent. So they are trying to make this war, what they call it as a hybrid war or something like that. But in Africa, the wars are very destructive. So this is because people feel more fear. So they are trying to escape. Also, between Ukraine and Western Europe, there is a lot of countries like Poland. There is a lot of Ukrainian people in Poland now. So, and they believe that the war will finish in Ukraine. Many people, they know that Ukraine will win this war at last, and the situation will be stable. But in Africa, there is no hope like that. People, they see this war for many years, and they don't see hope. And we can see that the war in Iraq is 20. Of course, Iraq is not in Africa, but it is an example. The war in Sudan, it was for 50 years, and it finished with separation of the country, but it is still continuing between the two countries, South Sudan and North Sudan, and within every country, within South Sudan. So people, they began to lose hope. So when you lose hope, you escape away because you want to live in some place which is secure. And I think that Ukrainian people, they did not lose hope. So that is the reason that they are keeping themselves in the country.
Then again, can I ask about? I mean, these people, they are traveling around in thousands or even millions, and I think to myself, well, okay, they must know, logically speaking, they must know that if they go to another country, there's not going to be room for them all. Where are they all going to go? They're all displaced persons. Where are they going to go? I mean, our country, we're just a little island here. And we're restricted in how many we can take. Now you see them, but what's happening is on the streets of Greece and on the streets of Turkey and everything else now. You've got all these people. They're all on the streets. They're homeless. They're displaced and everything else, and getting absolutely nowhere. So I don't see the point in coming over. I mean, logically speaking, would they not be better staying in their own country and doing the best they can in their own country? Or don't you?
Okay. I will tell you one fact which a lot of people, they don't know. There is more refugees in Africa than in any other continent in the world, because refugees, they escape from their countries to other countries, like people from Burundi and Rwanda. Where they escape? They don't come to Europe. They go to Tanzania, they go to Malawi, they go to Botswana, they go to South Africa. So we have millions of refugees in Africa. In Sudan, there was a war, but there was bigger war in Ethiopia and Eritrea, and there was another war in Chad, and we had more than 5 million people in Sudan. Tanzania, which is a very poor country, has accepted more than 2 or 3 million people from Rwanda and Burundi when there was war there. So these people are escaping to other countries. It's not in Jordan, there is 2 million people. In Lebanon, there is a lot of people. So these people are escaping everywhere.
We don't hear about these things.
Yeah, you don't hear about it because it is the problem of these countries. It is, but when they come to Europe, some of them, of course, these people who are coming to Europe, they are coming from neighboring countries like Syria, like Libya. They can't go because there is a desert. From Libya, if they want to go to the south, they will find the desert. They will die in the desert. So they are trying to go through the Mediterranean Sea. And it is not far away to get to Greece or to Italy from Libya, or to get through Turkey to Europe from Syria. But like from Chad, they will not come. They will go to another country. Like from Burundi or Rwanda or other country, they will go south. They will go to Tanzania. They will go to South Africa. There is a lot of people in Tanzania, refugees in South Africa, in Botswana, and also they have problems there because they can't feed all these people. There is a social problem sometimes. When I was in South Africa, I was a witness of some problems between the local people and some refugees, which they came, and also they would like to work and they would like to live because they escaped from war, from instability, and they came to a country which they think that it is more stable. So they wanted to work, they wanted to live. But there was a problem that the local people, they say no, because we will lose our work, we will lose our housing, we
Stability.
have problems, privilege. Yeah. So in Africa nowadays we have more than 10 million refugees from. We are not speaking about refugees in the same country. No, we are talking about refugees which leave their country to go to another African country because it is more stable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we only hear on it's our local or our media is to
Yeah.
blame there because we only hear what is coming into to Europe. We
Yeah.
don't anything south of the equator doesn't
Yes.
concern us. Yeah, you
Yeah.
understand? And
Yeah.
this is where I think a big problem arises. We are only hearing half the story here.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
but Ron and Adil, I want to interrupt a little bit you. And we talked about Ukraine and Russia values, different values between the Ukraine and Russians. And we talked about differences values in Africa. And we start to talk about different values between Scotland and England. In the really start of our conversation, Ron start to talk a little bit about it. And could you uh, uh, open to us
Yeah.
this world?
I tell you, the friction between Scotland and England, if you can call it friction, sometimes it's just some friendly banter. Other times it's very serious. The difference between Scotland and England is the fact that we are two different countries. Now, Scotland has never been invaded by anyone. The Vikings have tried it. The Romans, they've tried it. That's why it didn't work. So that's why they built a wall. And at one stage, about 300 years ago, Scotland ruled England, if you understand what I mean. And then, I think it was the Treaty of Northumberland or something like that, we allowed the English to have their independence from us in Scotland. But and this has been going on for over 300 years. And it's still rumbling on now. What we're doing now is instead of, we are very, very patriotic here in Scotland, and you will find that because we are a Celtic nation, as Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and Cornwall, believe it or not, in southwest England, we are all Celtic, and the Celts are very, very patriotic. And I think we like to be how do you say acknowledged as independent. We like to be acknowledged as Scottish rather than British. You understand? And this is where the values come in here. The patriotism here is different from the patriotism in England. The English, they can sing their heads off, yeah, with the flags and everything else, you know, they can all do that. But up here in Scotland, we are working on this, and rather than fight another war with the English, we have decided to approach this on a political level, and it's worked for us so far. And we now are independent from England in many ways. And we are now, well, some of us, put it this way, not all of us, but some of us now are trying to put our values now into Scotland by becoming totally independent and break away from London, the same as Ireland is at the moment. Southern Ireland is a small independent nation. And we're trying to do the same. Now, a lot of people will say, no, it won't work. We don't have the finances. We don't have the industry. We don't have this, that, and the next thing. This may be true. but we'll never find out unless unless we try. Now, regarding Brexit and the European Union, England, it was all the people in England who voted to leave Europe, not Scotland. So our leaders here, Nicola Sturgeon and her people, they are now negotiating with the Europeans in Brussels to see if we can remain in the EU without England. So we have our values here. We are a very, very patriotic nation, and this is how we always were. And I think that is our value.
Thank you, Ron, very much. And I'm sorry that the time is go very fast, and we must finish our dialogue today. And in the really end, I want to read list of today values, and I would ask you to find only one value and name this value and say what kind of belief create this value from your inside, and what behavior as a result you have. And we have participation, transparency, deep democracy, social economy, honesty, goodwill, cooperation, trust, and well-being. And for example, I start. And for me, deep democracy very valued. I valued, and as a result, I believe in people. And my behavior each day to be patient to people, to be polite to them. Patient and polite at the same time. Yeah, Ron.
My value would be trust. You have to trust people. You have to learn to trust people the same that you hope that they would be able to trust you too. And that ties in also with transparency. Transparency and trust both go together. And if you don't have transparency and trust within each other, then it's very difficult to move on. That's how I look at it.
And as a result, what behavior? What kind of behavior do you have?
Behavior.
Yeah.
What kind of behavior? Well, of course, you obviously need to have good behavior. We can't go around running around. We can't go running around like the old Celts used to do in Braveheart's time, you know, and they're chopping people's heads off and things like that. So obviously, you have to be diplomatic about things nowadays.
Thank you, Adel. Your turn.
Yeah, I believe also trust is the most important in this package of values, and with trust you can build all other values. You can build transparency, you can build democracy, you can build goodwill. Also is connected with trust, because if you trust people, you behave in a goodwill and you believe that they are behaving in a goodwill. I'm trying to, I think I love people, I believe in people, so that's why I trust them. And sometimes I'm wrong because I trust the wrong people, but it is a price for this value. So let it be.
It's called life. It's called life experience now.
Yes. Yeah. And Larissa, do you want to add something about your value? And to switch on your microphone, Larissa. Switch on your microphone.
Yeah. It's my personal value, yeah?
Yes. And which, from the list today's value. Из списка, который я прочитала.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, but we heard that for Larissa is very important transparency, trust, and well-being.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larissa. Thank you, Larissa, very much, and thank you, everybody, for today's dialogue. I think it was very productive. What do you think?
Yeah. Bye-bye.
And thank you. See you next week. And thank you, Scotland Skits. Thank you, African continent. We named a lot of countries today from Africa continent. And we wish Africa continent and Zimbabwe personally well-being. And we wish Scotland and England to value each other more closer. And we wish we wish Ukraine and Russia to find joint values and to not fighting with each other, and because we are human. And thank you, MediaC, for today dialogue and for today opportunity to connect different continents.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great
Thank
day.
You too. Yep. Good evening to you all.
Bye.